Hey, it's Shane with GotRom.com. Welcome to the 6 secrets of the world's most flexible athletes. In this video, you're going to learn who are the world's most flexible athletes, what they do differently, how this leads to superhuman flexibility, and how you can use the same methods to get freakishly flexible. Stay tuned. First, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the 6 secrets, and then we'll get into all the juicy details. The 6 secrets are: secret number 1, strength; secret number 2, ballistics; secret number 3, density; secret number 4, black hole focus; secret number 5, super friends; secret number 6, coaches. And at the end of all that, I'll cover some of my advanced flexibility programs that can help you achieve the same high-level results. So, who are the world's most flexible people? Among athletes, dancers, gymnasts, and martial artists are 3 groups that display some of the most impressive feats of flexibility. Of course, other disciplines have their own bendy people, but dancers, gymnasts, and martial artists display a high degree of strength and control with their flexibility. This active flexibility, aka mobility, is really the ultimate goal of all this flexibility training. Why? Basically because it's usable flexibility for real life. This is why I've singled out these 3 groups, studied their methods, and distilled it down to the best practices that you can start using in your own training. So what is it that these people do differently? First, I want to ask a question. Why is it so hard for the rest of us to get flexible? Are we just lazy? Is it our genetics? The answer is no. It's not just a lack of will or cursed inheritance from our parents. The problem is our methods. The secrets of the elite is that they train differently. While scientific research and popular articles on the internet tell us to just relax into the stretch, the world's most flexible people are doing something very different. The key strategies that they're using that most of us are not are loaded stretching, ballistic stretching, targeted tissue work, intense focus, and they leverage training partners and coaches in a way that most of us do not. Why does this lead to superhuman flexibility? These 6 secrets lead to superhuman flexibility because they're battle-tested and proven. What I mean is, an Olympic-level gymnast doesn't have time to rely on theoretical models of flexibility. He or she uses what has produced results in the past and what will continue to do so in the future. Nobody reaches elite levels of flexibility any other way. There's a staggering amount of advice on the internet that is just plain wrong. Armchair experts can cite scientific studies that are 10 years behind the practice of flexibility, but they can't actually get into the splits themselves. The real truth teller for how good someone's methodology is, how good their teaching is are they themselves flexible in every different range of motion in every direction, and have they produced results with students in the real world? Okay, so these elite athletes do something different, but how can we use the same methods that they're using to get freakishly flexible? The good thing about the internet is that these tactics and strategies of these elite athletes are now available to us all. Why? Because the age of the internet has made it possible. For all its downsides, the digital age has allowed for widespread sharing of techniques. But it takes a keen eye to be able to sift through all that information. Not to mention, you need a lot of background education in anatomy, biomechanics, kinesiology, movement sciences to understand all of this stuff. Fortunately, you don't have to go back and get a college degree in kinesiology. I've sifted through all that information for you and distilled it down to some best practices that I think will be helpful for you. And by the way, I wrote all this up in a very short, easy to digest ebook that you can download on my website that covers these 6 secrets in more depth. And of course, if you want the masterclass in all of this, then I have my Flexibility University curriculum. So without further ado, let's dive into the secrets. Secret number 1 is strength. What do I mean by that? Elite athletes understand that making your muscles lengthen is not enough. Muscles also need to be strong in that range of motion. If your body senses that you don't have strength at end range, then it will not allow you to go to end range. This is a very basic protective mechanism of the body. After all, if you don't have the strength to control extreme ranges of motion, you might tear a muscle. The solution is build strength with length, build strength at end range with loaded stretching. Loaded stretching is the systematic and careful application of leverage and external load to push you deeper into a stretch. It is the best way to build strength at end range. But it's also a good way to get hurt if you don't know what you're doing. You can't just say, okay, Shane said add weight at end range, and then go do Jefferson curls and rounded back deadlifts and all of your normal stretches just with more weight on top. Just like the SAID principle, SAID in weightlifting, specific adaptation to imposed demands, you need to strengthen your muscles at specific ranges with an appropriate amount of weight to get the desired results. You can't go too much and you can't go too little. You have to find that Goldilocks sweet spot of just enough. Almost anything can be turned into a loaded stretch. You can turn pigeon pose into a loaded stretch. You can turn basic hamstring stretching into a loaded stretch, often called a Jefferson curl. You can make a loaded hip flexor stretch and loaded hamstring stretch by practicing the loaded front splits. The middle splits can be turned into a loaded stretch. Even pancake splits can be turned into a loaded stretching activity. And by the way, for some people, like myself, this loaded stretching style of stretching can help them work around genetic disadvantages. For example, I have FAI, that's femoral acetabular impingement, cam morphology in my right hip. That means my bone shape is poorly shapen and it's not built for range of motion. But when I learned loaded stretching, what happens is when you go into a loaded stretch, all of the muscles fire at a higher level than if you're doing passive stretching. And this centrates your hip joint in the socket or your shoulder joint or any other joint. And what that does is it puts it in a perfect position, and then it has more range of motion without getting impinged. So if you're genetically disadvantaged, like me, then definitely check out loaded stretching. Secret number 2 is ballistics. Passive stretching, aka just wait out the tension, falls short. It falls short because after a certain point, the weight of your body is not enough to push you deeper into the stretch. Athletes of old, martial artists, kung fu practitioners, and others discovered a way to use leverage and controlled bouncing to get deeper into the stretch. In fact, everyone that I know that's really been stretching for a lot of years has intuitively discovered this slight bouncing at end range, although even those advanced practitioners haven't maximized the full potential of this technique. If you go on YouTube, though, and you look at some videos of kung fu masters that have been practicing this ballistic stretching for years and years and years, they're doing feats of flexibility that would make even the most bendy yogi jealous. So these ballistics or ballistic style stretching is basically the closest thing that I've ever found to permanent flexibility. What's that, you say? Permanent flexibility? How is that even possible? Anyone who's attempted the splits knows that holding end ranges of motion is extremely painful. Ballistic stretching sidesteps this problem by having you bounce or pulse in and out of end range. This allows you to accumulate many seconds and minutes at your maximal stretch with less pain. This cements your gains and is the second secret to superhuman flexibility. Secret number 3 is density, or finding out how to get rid of density. Hard training athletes get sore muscles. That's a fact. Sore muscles lead to dense muscles. Dense muscles do not stretch as well as supple muscles. This is why deep, targeted tissue work has long been a staple in the training program of elite athletes. This has often taken the form of a professional massage therapist to massage the hamstrings of an elite sprinter before he's going out for a 100-meter dash world record time. In fact, I remember my mentor, who trained Olympic athletes and trained an Olympic sprinter, a hurdler, tell me stories about some of the great sprinters and how just before they were doing the 100-meter dash and broke a world record, they had their massage therapist sort of fine-tuning the tone of their hamstring muscles. Too tight, not ideal. Too loose, not ideal. However, most people can't afford a full-time professional masseuse, but fortunately, there is another method that in some ways is actually even better. It's called self-myofascial release, but I'm not talking about simple foam rolling. The type of tissue work I'm discussing employs a variety of tools to achieve a deeper and more effective change in the texture of your tissues. And you can't always do that with a foam roller. For example, just like a car mechanic doesn't work on a car with one tool, just a wrench for everything. They have multiple tools for different jobs on the car. Similarly, to get different parts of your body, the neck, the groin, the hamstrings, the calves, you need different tools for the job. Learning how to work out these dense muscles, this density, is the third secret of superhuman flexibility. Secret number 4 is black hole focus. Elite athletes seem to have an all-consuming intensity of focus. This intensity and the duration of their laser-like focus is akin to the powerful pull of a black hole vortex. How do these athletes accomplish such black hole focus? They do so by systematically developing an environment and rituals that block out everything that is not their primary goal. Often this is done step by step over years, but the aim is clear. Do the most important things first, and the second things not at all. Of course, even the elite cannot sustain 100% focus every hour of every day for years on end. This is why they arrange their training into blocks. A typical training block averages about a month. This is why I've arranged my flexibility programs to span 30 to 45 days. You can thereby hone your focus for a period of time toward your goal of mastering flexibility. This is flexibility secret number 4. Secret number 5 is super friends. Even the most gifted athletes and performers are wise to not go it alone. Training partners are an essential part of success in training. It's true, 80 to 90% of stretching and myofascial release work can be done on your own, but when you add in a good training partner, you can accelerate your results 2 to 3 times. Not only does the extra pair of hands come in helpful, but the accountability and the support is absolutely invaluable. After all, the best in the world don't rely on willpower alone. They recognize that positive peer pressure from their training partners, teammates, and coach is a much more powerful force than their own willpower. Knowing this, they use the support of others to their advantage. Surrounding yourself with good training partners, super friends, is secret number 5. The last secret, secret number 6, is coaches and mentors. Mentors who have walked the path and can show you the way may be the surest way to get more flexible than you could ever imagine. While there can be a tremendous value in experimenting on your own, a smart person also leverages the vast experience of those who have already made it, those that are already there. If you find a coach who has achieved a high level of flexibility themselves, helped a lot of other people do the same, and is honest with you about what it really takes to get there, then climb under their wing and learn from them. This is the final secret to superhuman flexibility. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you want a much deeper dive into all this material, kind of like getting your PhD in flexibility, check out my Flexibility University program at gotrom.com.